If you're a developer, you know this feeling all too well. You've got this brilliant idea, right? Maybe it's a new SaaS product, a cool AI tool, whatever. You are ready to build, you're fired up, and then you hit the wall. You have to build authentication. Again, the sign up, the login, the password resets, all the security stuff, it is such a critical but honestly frustrating detour from building your actual product. So let's dive into a solution that's designed to end that cycle for good.
This quote from Logto it gets right to the point, doesn't it? It's a rallying cry for every single one of us who's thought, there has to be a better way than this. It speaks directly to that pain of spending weeks on a feature that, let's be real, users just expect to be there. It's a feature that doesn't make your product special, it just makes it work.
And it really is an endless cycle, you know? You build it for your first app, great. Then you launch a second one, and now you've got to make them talk to each other. Then a huge customer wants to come on board, but hey, they have their own identity system. It feels like you're constantly just duct taping security together, and that is a very risky game to be playing.
And this is exactly where Logto comes in. It's built to be a modern, super developer-friendly authentication infrastructure. The whole goal isn't just to give you a login box. It's to provide a rock-solid foundation that actually grows with your product, so you can get back to focusing on what you do best.
So what is Logto really? Well, think of it as a platform that handles all the gnarly parts of identity. You need to manage different customer organizations, right? Logto calls that multi-tenancy. You need to let those big companies log in with their own corporate systems. That's enterprise SSO. And you definitely need to control who can see and do what in your app. Well, that's role-based access control, or RBAC. It takes care of all of this using modern, secure standards that you don't have to become an expert in. And you know, Logto makes this incredibly accessible. Get this, their free plan includes up to 50,000 monthly active users. And no, this isn't some super restrictive trial. It is a genuinely generous free tier that lets you build, launch, and grow a pretty significant user base without ever worrying about a surprise bill. That's huge.
To really see the value here, let's actually follow a product's journey. We're going to start with that first great idea, watch it grow into a whole suite of apps, and then finally see it land those massive, game-changing enterprise deals. We'll see how Logto is right there, supporting you at every single stage.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. You've got an idea, and right now, your #1 priority is speed. You need to get your concept out there, ship features, and get your first users. The absolute last thing you want is to get bogged down building a login system from scratch. So right out of the box, Logto gives your users a polished, modern sign-in experience that they already expect. You can offer passwordless login with one-time codes through email or SMS. You can let people sign in with the social accounts they already have, like Google or Apple. And yeah, of course, you can still have traditional passwords. It covers all the bases from day one.
And this right here is a perfect example of what developer-friendly actually means. Adding multi-factor authentication is so important for security, but man, it is usually a giant headache to build. With Logto, you can turn it on in minutes, offering modern options like passkeys, authenticator apps, and backup codes to keep your users' accounts locked down.
Okay, so your first app is a hit. Awesome. Now you're expanding, you're building a second app, maybe even a third, and all of a sudden you have a totally new problem. How do you give users a seamless experience across your entire product suite without creating a tangled mess of user accounts? Let's see how Logto handles this next stage of growth.
So the key concept here is multi-tenancy. This is absolutely essential for most B2B and SaaS products. It's simply the ability to group your users by their company or organization, what we call a tenant. This lets you manage resources and permissions separately for each customer, all inside your one application.
And here's the magic part. Your user signs in just once, and bam! They have seamless access to every single app in your suite that they're allowed to use. It's this one unified flow that feels totally native and just removes all that friction as you scale up your offerings.
Now, as you grow, you also need more fine-grained control. That's where role-based access control, or RBAC, comes into play. This lets you define roles like admin, editor, or just viewer, and assign them to users. You can set specific rules for who gets to access what, both across your whole platform and inside each customer's organization. Okay, this is the final stage of our journey. You are ready to sell to the big leagues. Now, enterprise customers, they have a completely different set of requirements. They demand robust security, proven compliance, and seamless integration with all of their existing IT systems.
When you're talking enterprise deals, single sign-on or SSO is almost always a non-negotiable demand.
They want their employees to log in using the same system they use for everything else at work, their corporate identity provider, like Okta or Microsoft Entra. Building these integrations one by one is a monumental task. Logto just removes that headache entirely, letting you connect to basically any provider your customer uses.
And look, when you're selling to the enterprise, you have to prove you can be trusted. This is the checklist that does it. You've got SOC 2 Type 2 certification. That's a huge stamp of approval. The core is open source, which means transparency. They're using modern password hashing, encrypting data everywhere. This is the stuff that gets you past that tough enterprise security review.
So let's bring this all together. The whole idea behind a platform like Logto is to let you build your product, not the plumbing underneath it. It helps you avoid racking up all that security and technical debt as you grow, because you're building on a foundation that was designed for that exact journey from the start.
This comparison really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The old way means you have to pause your feature development to build off. You're constantly patching security holes. You're doing major rebuilds just to add stuff like SSO. The Logto way means a quick integration, inheriting enterprise-grade security from day one, and scaling seamlessly while you stay focused on what actually matters, your product.
And of course, it's designed to fit right into your workflow. It supports over 20 popular frameworks, Next.js, Python, Go, you name it. It has SDKs for mobile, a clean API if you need to do custom stuff, and there's even a no-code option. It really does work where you work.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this really simple but powerful idea. Let the experts handle the crazy complexities of identity. That way, you can pour all of your energy and creativity into what you do best, creating something amazing for your users. And that's the question I really want to leave you with. Just imagine it. All the time, all the engineering hours, all the mental energy that you spend on authentication. Now imagine redirecting all of that towards your core mission. What new features could you ship? How much faster could you innovate? What could you build if you never had to rebuild off again?